30 years of Pokémon, one of the franchises that I've stuck with most since getting into it. Stepping out onto my first journey in Kalos back in 2013 to now, 12 years later in 2025, where we'll be stepping into Kalos again with the release of Legend ZA. I feel like now's the perfect time to really start sharing my love for the franchise. It still feels like only yesterday that I happened to turn the TV on and ended up watching Cameron's Secret Weapon episode in the Universe anime, and I was hooked. Animation style, the characters, and most importantly, two very distinct Pokemon, Lucario and Riolu. And then the trailers for X and Y caught my attention. I was desperate to get into the franchise, practically begging my parents to get me the games for Christmas. Come December 25th, 2013, my own Pokemon journey finally began. So, who am I? I'm Rio, and yes, I did choose that name based off of my favourite Pokemon. I'm 20, an agenda, and hoping that I can share my passion with other like-minded people, or even new players to the franchise. Having made that connection with Riolu and Lucario so early on, it was only inevitable that I'd implement their extensive use of Aura into my channel. With how many Riolu I've hatched and caught over the years, I do have my own little kingdom and army of them by now, hence I call myself the Aura Monarch. I'll never break out of that tradition of shiny hunting for a Riolu in every new game that comes out. Knowing me, I'll go back to the older games and it'll become part of a video or streaming series. Perhaps I'll even do a run of just Lucario at one point. April Fool's anyone? With my background in martial arts, my love for fighting types is something that I've never dropped. And they're always so dynamic, and a lot of them are able to share that cool demeanor while still being intimidating. And if I could be anyone in the Pokemon universe, it would be a fighting type Elite Four member. But that's enough about me and myself. Let's see some more insight into some of my other favourite Pokemon. To no surprise, my favourite Pokemon is Lucario. I vividly remember playing Pokemon Y and training up my Fennekin on Route 22 to fight Viola, and in the grass I found it, my very first Riolu. I couldn't not catch her, and we've been by each other's side ever since. When we found our way to Route 5 and met with Karina, a fellow Lucario lover, I figured that she'd be my favourite gym leader for years to come. And don't worry, Karina, you're still my favourite. We continued our journey, Riolu evolving into Lucario whilst battling Team Flare in the Glittering Cave, and we were set from there. Eventually, we got to Shota City and met with Karina again. Not only did she give us another Lucario who'd also bonded with us, but she gave me my favourite item, the Lucario Knight. Since my very first playthrough, any run of a new game has included a Lucario where possible. I don't intend on changing that anytime soon. No matter the universe, I always find my Lucario. I even managed to find a Lucario with a Pompous mark in Scarlet and Violet. She really sees herself as the leader of the pack of my Aura users. Even in Pokemon Unite, I use Lucario from time to time. I was really torn on Hollowware, but she loves her pirate outfit, and it suits her well. And then in Mystery Dungeon 2, where you can play as Lucario. Even in Pokémon Tournament, my main's Lucario. Yeah, I think it's obvious who my favourite Pokemon is. When it comes to evolutions, they always tend to be fan favourites. From cool designs to powerful stats, it's no wonder they tend to crop up in people's top favourites when it comes to Pokemon. Although Kalos was my starting region, Sinnoh has to be a close second favourite. From the snow-topped Mount Coronet to having some of my favourite starters in the franchise. My love for Sinnoh doesn't revolve just around the landscape, but the Pokemon too. Lying at the end of Route 217, the Icy Rock stands alone and isolated, just waiting for a trainer patient enough to evolve their Eevee there. Although one of the more unpopular evolutions, Glaceon always hold a special place in my heart. Not only does she have an awesome design, but I'm also a fan of her shiny too. Hot take, I know, but the almost subtle white fur with the blue accents really stand out to me. Most first runs of a game will have a Glaceon on my team too, and the recent change to having her evolve via an Ice Stone, rather than via location, has been a great way to finally get Glaceon at a reasonable time, rather than having to wait until the 6th gym, or even later. When playing Scarlet for the first time, I remember running up to Mount Glaciado or with Koraidon, avoiding any wild Pokemon I could just so I could get a Glaceon even earlier. What a great way to experience the open world of Paldea, running for your life from Persians. Glaceon's another one of my mains in Unite. Icicle Spear is broken and no one can change my mind on that. I remember sniping the kill of Rayquaza not too long ago, and still to be one of my proudest Unite moments to this day. Starters also tend to be some of people's favourite Pokemon, staples of a trainer's journey and their growth. Some regions have made it significantly easier than others to gravitate towards a favourite, and although for over a decade my favourite was Delphox, we have a new contender as of Scarlet and Violet in Meowscarada. It's fitting in a way how both of them are magicians. Next we just need a water and fighting type magician, and I'll have completed a double triangle set. Normally the grass starter tends to be lacking for me, but Paldea really hit it out of the park for their starter Pokemon. The Sprigatito was still the one that stuck out to me the most. Another Pokemon with an incredible design, and although it went by Beetle, I feel like the design was pulled off well and did the Dark-type cats justice. I'll always remember the first time I heard Meowscarada's cry. It really solidified my love for the Pokemon. I don't know what it is, I just love it. With Pokemon Horizons taking much more of my interest too, my love for the Meowscarada line has grown, and I can't wait to see how Lycos grows in her journey. To no surprise, Meowscarada is another one of my favourites to use in Unite. being part of the Speedster class, which is by far my favourite to use. I know I'm probably getting my hopes up, but I really want Sprigatito to be one of the starters in Legends ZA. With Gideon having a shiny Zygarde in the anime, there's surely going to be some sort of significant link to Kalos, right? Going back all the way to Johto, another one of my favourite Pokemon is Houndoom. The Hellhound really caught my eye from the first time I saw it, and although I already had a Fennekin on my team, I saw Team Play use a Houndour and desperately wanted one for myself. Back then, I didn't realise what a version exclusive was, nor that Houndour was exclusive to Pokemon X, and I spent ages searching with no luck as a result. To think I made so many silly mistakes back when I first played Pokemon. I even lost a shiny Gulpin as I didn't know what a shiny was back then. I remember the blue bulb showing up in a horde battle and not thinking anything of it. Looking back now, I wish I caught it anyway, but that's not the Pokemon we're discussing now. Anyone just looking at my top favourites would think my favourite was Dark types, but really they're just a close second. Watching the Mega Evolution specials back in X and Y and getting to watch my favourite character Morva use Mega Houndoom was really when I started to see what the species was and how great it could be. Mega Houndoom has to be one of my favourite Megas. Whether or not a lot of evil teams use it, I'll always end up loving the Hellhound. And yes, Morva's staying my favourite Pokemon character. I don't care if she's part of an evil team, she's hot. Oh wow, another Dark type, but this time it's shiny. None other than the harbinger of disaster, Absol. Being a geography student, the fact that Absol has a link to natural disasters really interests me. Honestly, part of me feels bad for the species, since they get seen as the ones who bring about disaster when, in reality, they're just warning other people about it. Absol as a Pokemon was another one on my very first team back all the way in Pokemon X and Y. When Kalen got a Mega Absol, I knew I wanted one of my own. Those wings look so cool and really bring out more of Absol's nature of protecting people from hazardous threats, almost like a guardian angel. But why do I connect so much with shiny Absol in particular? Well, it was my first shiny. I tried Masuda hunting as a joke, and in my first batch of eggs I got a shiny Absol. They red fist the species really well, and wow, I'm talking about a Unidolord. Absol's another one of my mains. I'm looking forward to seeing Mega Absol in Legends ZA. Maybe it'll even be a ride Pokemon. Nah, that's probably getting my hopes up too much, but it's a cool theory. And last for my favourite Pokemon, or at least some of my favourites, we see my joint favourite legendary Pokemon, Virizion. My favourite movie was always Kirim and the Swords of Justice. Yes, it's one of the less popular ones, but I still enjoy it. Sure, my favourite legendary is technically Yveltal, but Virizion was significantly easier to draw. I'm working on my drawings, and I'm still relatively new in the Pokemon drawing world. And these things don't just magically come to fruition overnight. I really wish they did. So instead, I'll nominate Virizion as my honorary favourite legendary. I just love the concept of the Swords of Justice, and with my favourite colour being green, it's shock to no one that one of my favourite legendary Pokemon is my favourite type and my favourite colour. I fully intend to shiny hunt for Virizion at some point. Pink shinies tend not to be my favourite, but the pink for Virizion just seems to work, so I'm sure I'll love it when she does shine. I just need to decide between Sword and Shield or one of the Unova games. With my luck in Sword and Shield though, I'll probably go for one of the Unova games. I have a 2000 encounters for Frostmoth and I still don't have my Green Moth. So what do I intend to do with the channel? Well, to celebrate Pokemon's 30th year anniversary, I'll be playing through all the mainline games that I can. I have a DS capture card on the way, and with that I'll be able to play right from Gen 3 games to the Gen 5 games, and any of the spin-offs that come on those consoles, as well as having my Switch, so really I'd only be missing Gens 1 and 2 on the Virtual Console, and then Gen 6 and 7. Both of those I'll need a 3DS capture card for. Hope to be able to get that one sooner rather than later. With those games, I'll be playing through one of them and then 100% completing the other one. And then with games with 3 versions, I'll do 2 playthroughs and then 100% the third game. Almost like a interlinked story kind of setting. I do like my writing, so it'll be fun to make characters for everyone. As for spin-offs like Ranger and Mystery Dungeons, I'll be playing those where I can too. With how big the franchise Pokemon is, there's a lot of games out there, and the 30th year anniversary will hopefully bring new players to the series. But as we know, the older games can be significantly harder and much more expensive to buy, so having the ability to show off the playthroughs of these older games will be great. Furthermore, I'll also be bringing in fan games, because there are some great ones out there like Uranium, Insurgents, even I'll try out Pokemon Fusion. I'll be streaming Pokeroad too, trying to complete solo challenges or region locks, and Shiny Hunts will also be streamed from time to time, especially when it comes to 100% completing games, since my goal for those includes at least one Shiny Hunt. I'll be shiny hunting Mewtwo, and Fire Red is the first guaranteed hunt of the 100% complete runs. Whatever I'm doing though, I'll still be implementing my drawings. I really love doing them, and although they're not perfect, I'm enjoying the process of learning, and I'll get better over time. All in all, I want this channel to be a safe space for everyone, both new and old Pokemon fans, and so that they can feel nostalgia towards the franchise. It'll mostly be a Pokemon channel, but there will be a couple of other games like Stardew Valley here and there. I look forward to bringing more Pokemon content and seeing what there is for this year. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.